But this one, I mean, this is a beautiful looking card. The Dark Paladin Retrain, it was only I guess it was only a matter of time until they were doing a Dark Paladin Retrain as an overframe, because I mean, they are currently in the process of creating a bunch of overframes for iconic Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and obviously Dark Paladin is a very iconic Yu-Gi-Oh card, and I mean, this overframe is once again a beautiful card. This was announced during the stream of the Japan Championships, the tournament that we are going to take a look at today. And it reads as follows. It's called Dark Paladin Wave Motion. Level 8 Dark Spellcaster Fusion, of course, same stats as Dark Paladin. Fusion materials, a Dark Magician, and a level 7 or higher monster. Must be fusion summoned. Gains 500 attack for every other monster on the field. Ooh, that is pretty big, potentially. Can attack all opponent's monsters once each. Okay. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell card or effect, quick effect, you can negate that effect, then you can destroy one card on the field. Okay, I mean, that is powerful. That is also, I mean, I guess in spirit of the original Dark Paladin, because what Dark Paladin is like, Dark Paladin negates spell cards by discarding cards, right? But I do believe that the original Dark Paladin isn't even once per turn. I'm not entirely sure though, but I think it's just as many cards in hand as you have, you can just negate spell cards with the original Dark Paladin, so I'm glad they made this one once per turn. After this card destroys a card by battle or card effect and sends it to the graveyard, that card cannot activate its effects while it's in the grave. Okay, interesting. I mean, there's two sides to this card, I would say. The one side is, what does this card do for you when you summon it going first? And the answer is not that much. I mean, it is a spell card negation, which is not terrible, but it's also nothing too crazy. I mean, there's other cards that exist that do that better, or do even more, or have negations for more types of cards. So this is nothing too crazy, especially considering, I mean, we are looking at a fusion monster here that does require you to use Dark Magician, especially like, you know, if we compare this to something like Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, which is going first a much more powerful card, I would say. Going second, however, I find this card interesting because, I mean, it's incredibly big, depending on how many monsters your opponent has and how many other monsters you can put next to it, but it starts out at 2,900, so even if there is 2 other monsters on the field, this thing is 3,900, which is pretty massive. It attacks everything, and it stops everything that it runs over from activating its effects while it's in the graveyard, which is funny because that does not only stop trigger effects from happening when the card is destroyed by battle, but it also stops. That's a lingering restriction that's placed on the card, right? So if you run over, what's a good example of this in the current format? Let me think. You run over a Skull Archfiend of Chaos, right? You run over a Skull Archfiend of Chaos in the Light and Darkness Ritual deck. It cannot trigger its graveyard effect to send a ritual spell and search, but also, while it's in the graveyard, it cannot use the effect to bring itself back, right? So it's essentially negated forever, that card that you run over, which is pretty strong. And I think that's interesting. I mean, it's the question is, how easy is this to summon? How viable is this? But I mean, Dark Magician is getting support with the Overframes, or Grandmaster Rares rather, in the Magnificent Monsters set. And those cards are not bad. So Dark Magician as an archetype, I believe, has seen a little bit of play in the OCG. Not a terrible amount, but it does become more viable with those new cards. And who knows, maybe there's an easy way to summon this guy. I'm pretty sure you can summon it with Gaze of Timaeus. I'm pretty sure you can summon it with Gaze of Timaeus. The question is just, it does compete with Dragoon, right? It does compete with Dragoon. And the question is, how often is this card better than Dragoon? And are you really going to put both into your extra deck to have the option to summon either of them? Because the thing is, Dragoon is also not bad going second into a board, right? Because it's very hard to interact with. It can destroy monsters, and so on and so forth. I guess, wait, can can Dragoon pop monsters if it's summoned with Gaze of Timaeus? Wasn't it something like it depends on the number of vanillas that were used for it? So if you summon it with Gaze of Timaeus and Dark Magician of Destruction, I think it cannot pop anything, right? It only pops if you use original Dark Magician. Yeah. With Gaze, it's only a negate. Okay, yeah, then maybe if there's a deck that uses the Gaze of the Timaeus package, you might want to pick this one because it might be better going second than Dragoon. At the same time, this only negates spell cards, which is significantly worse when you're going second, right? Having the ability to negate everything is much better when you're playing into a board as well. Okay, I like this way more in its design than Dragoon, because it is much weaker going first than Dragoon, which I think is good. I like it when cards have these kind of like bonus effects for playing into boards and aren't completely insane when going first. But yeah. Negate a spell and destroy any card can be better than discard 1 to Omni. It can be. It is a different effect, so it's gonna have situations where it's better and it's gonna have situations where it's worse. That is true. At the same time, this is something that it is easier to play around. It gives your opponent more agency, because an Omni negate that can negate literally everything is basically impossible to really play around, quote unquote. It's just your opponent gets to decide when to use it whenever. This one, you can start playing with monsters. You can start playing with monsters and try to get rid of it before they get to even use it. This is a possibility that you have, whereas with Dragoon, they can just negate your monsters then. Like, the Dragoon will always negate something if your opponent wants to, right? So it's not necessarily always worse than Dragoon, but it is less flexible and it leaves your opponent with a little more choice, which I think is one of the main things I care about with negations, is that they, I mean, in an ideal world, I've made this clear recently. In an ideal world, negation is something that becomes less and less prevalent in Yu-Gi-Oh! I think negation is my least favorite way of interacting in Yu-Gi-Oh! But ideally, if we can, I mean, I know we can't have no negations. It's kind of delusional. But if they have to put negation on cards, I like if they have like loopholes. I like if there's a way to outplay it. I like if there's a way to play around it. Like the targeting negations that you can dodge, or something that can only negate a specific type of card, or only in a specific location that isn't the hand when you're going first, pretty much. So I can get behind this one. I can get behind this this design. Has some bonus effects going second. The negation effect going first is not terribly broken, and not an Omni negate at least. So yeah, and it looks dope. That's for sure. So okay, that is the new Dark Paladin for you. It's not the only Overframe though, because there is a new Silent Honor Arc on the block. Number 101, Silent Honor Arc Soul Asylum. Rank 4 Water Aqua, 2100 attack, 1000 defense. Which I think is the same as Silent Honor Arc used to be. Silent Honor Arc, one of the coolest XYZs of the Zexal era, in my opinion, because it was a removal-based rank 4, which is one of my favorite types of XYZs they've ever made. So let's see what the Retrain has got for us. 2 level 4 monsters. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can detach 1 material from this card, then activate 1 of these effects. Choose a level 4 monster in your graveyard, except the detached material, and add 1 level 4 monster with the same type and attribute, but a different name from your deck to your hand. Let me finish reading it first. Target 1 monster your opponent controls, attach it to this card. Okay, that still has the removal flavor to it, I guess. If this card would be destroyed, you can detach 1 material from it instead. Okay. I mean, we don't really have to talk about this second effect. This second effect is basically just a callback to the original Silent Honor Arc. That is a good effect that is going to come in handy. But the real reason for this card to see any play, or for this card to be good, is this, right? And I don't know, this one seems pretty powerful to me. And honestly, I feel like this is the kind of thing that they should be doing less. If anything, if the last couple of months or years of Yu-Gi-Oh! has taught us anything, I feel like it's that generic bridges in the extra deck are quite problematic. in a lot of ways. The thing is, I can't tell you exactly what the problem is yet, but I'm sure there is going to be a problem at some point, right? Whether it's a deck searching a barrier statue or whatever. I mean, a couple of those cards are already banned in the TCG, but I can only imagine what's going to happen when this card comes to Master Duel, for example, because in Master Duel, we still have a lot of the barrier statues that are banned in the TCG, and we also have Fossil Dyna Pachycephalus in Master Duel as well. So like it's just an invitation to search those kind of cards, pretty much, right? As far as to the fair uses of this card, there are some really good uses for this card, I'm sure. I mean, the first thing I can think of is all of the shark/water decks, where you have a lot of cards with the same type and attribute but different names, where you can just like detach, like make this detached and search like a different shark. This is probably a very good replacement for Bahamut Shark in the Mermaid Atlantean decks, because you can detach Dragoons, and then you can target, well, you can't target the Dragoons, but you can like target any other level 4 that you've put into the graveyard previously, like a pike. And then you can search something for that, and then you can search for the Dragoons as well. So there's a lot of things you can do with it in that sense. And I'm sure every rank 4 centric deck, which there are a lot of these days, has a use case for this card. So it feels very powerful to me in a weird way. I mean, I guess this is the question is, what can you really realistically bridge into this? Because you do need a monster with the same type and attribute to bridge into something else. It's not like this searches any level 4 period. It does require some setup. Right? It does require some amount of setup, but I'm sure people will find it. This is a database kind of card, right? It's just like something you go to the database for, you find the bridge, and then you're good to go, right? But I guess we'll have to wait and see how powerful it really is, but it feels very powerful. Given that we've gotten retrains for Gores, Dark Arm Dragon, Ice Barriers, and 101 in a row, what do you think will be the iconic retrain for Arc V and Brains? I don't know. I mean, I do like, this is something, I really like that they are putting some emphasis on retraining some of these iconic competitive cards like Dark Armed and Gores. I wonder what else they could retrain from later eras of the game. Right? Because yeah, you're right. Like Gores and Dark Armed Dragon are like iconic retrains from like 2008, 2009. The Ice Barrier stuff is like 2010, 2011. When did Silent Honor Arc come out? Like 2013. So yeah, we are moving up the timeline a little bit in terms of the iconic retrains. What is like iconic retrains from, I guess, like hat format maybe. I don't know. Or then even later. I'm thinking of it in formats, not in anime seasons. Because I mean, the one thing that these cards have in common is that they are not, I mean, this one is technically part of an archetype, but they're not really bound to archetypes, right? Like Gores, Dark Armed Dragon, the Ice Barriers are an archetype, but they were used as generic cards. So it's not like, it's not legacy support for one particular deck, right? They are just generic cards that they're doing, right? So I'm trying to think of an equivalent of this in later formats where it's just like a generically good card that was played in a lot of different decks. Archfiend Eccentric? Yeah, maybe Archfiend Eccentric would be I mean, that is the most generic pendulum that I can think of right now. Archfiend Eccentric is not a bad call. Fire and Ice Sand. Fire and Ice Sand would be funny. I wonder how they would do that. Yeah, I wonder how they would. I mean, dude, have you seen in some other card games they've been doing like these kind of like connecting artworks? Wouldn't it be kind of cool if they did like a Fire and Ice Sand overframe that have a connecting like artwork? That'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Because they are just like a pair of two cards that belong together. That'd be kind of nice. They did that for the Chaos cards. Yeah, kind of, but not really. You can put them side by side, but they don't have one artwork. They don't go into each other like seamlessly with the art. They kind of work together, but it's not one image. But it'd be cool. Diamond Direwolf would be dope. Diamond Direwolf is a very iconic rank 4, yeah. That'd be sick.